becoming a contributor for justice through ministry. History has explored and shown lessons that, if repeated, there can be horrific consequences. These experiences are there for serious reasons. As we examine ever-changing social and economic transformation, failures, and achievements of civilizations. A season of wall-mounted telephones to the ability to leave home and still receive that very important phone call. Gas stations and the array of maps of printed roads across America by opening an app and typing in the direction of possibilities. However, with the progression and evolution of materials and technological components, what remains are the issues of the heart, mind, and systemic concerns that remain. Human beings, the superior structure of all forms of technological advancement and discovery, have somehow not figured out how to live among themselves without arbitration of race, social, political, and unceasing injustice among people of color. The African American problem is such that much of the pejorative statements concerning African Americans derived from a group that proclaimed to be more human than the African Americans themselves. According to a 2002 study, 70% of all African American children were illegitimate, up from 23.6% in 1963, when welfare became a constitutional right, rendering husbands obsolete. Too many African American families grow up without a father figure, which often leads to psychological concerns later in life. However, without an understanding of critical thinking and application, one would assume that this is the state of the African American without any assistance. History states that many of the slave owners would mate the black women as soon as they came of age. It would be either the slave master or an enslaved man of his choice. The fact remains that even after the Emancipation Proclamation, there is evidence that African Americans had the largest number of statistics related to marriage and family. It seems that when we examine the use of information, we must also learn to apply philosophical critiques to the equations of why it has been stated as such. One would ask, why do we not evolve as a society in the manner of luxury products, transportation, and technology in regard to racism and injustice? How are we still stagnant in this particular area as a society? Yet what is amazing is the philosophy of cause and effect. However, when it comes to the condition of the African American problem, it is also stated that the African American has caused the systemic and social injustice that they face on their own. For this, the effect is overwhelming policing and lengthy prison sentences. African American children are subjected to child protective services for the smallest of discretions than their white counterparts. Programs designed to assist families are more likely to discriminate against African Americans due to color. Hurricane Katrina shed a fluorescent light on the lack of willingness to help people of color even in their times of trouble. As men and women of faith, how can we not recognize that within the text of the Bible we are called to be loving, kind, accepting, and more importantly, a bride without blemishes and a church filled with righteousness? How can we confess to love God but hate our brother? My answer to you is that we dismantle the years of humanoid idiocracy and recognize that we are living a spiritual existence in a physical body. And the heart that is to love must be allowed to love. The mind must be allowed to think critically and observantly with God at the helm. And our hands should also be used for building of the one true kingdom, not assaulting without cause. Dialogue cannot exist without humility. Paulo Freire. We can all become contributors for justice. This has been another Seeking Zion production.